So there was no QR code on NXT last night, which is a contrast from last week when there was one. We'll see if that puts a boost in the ratings. Um, that may have been why they did it last week. Hey, let's boost the ratings. If fans think there's going to be Uncle Howdy stuff, we can boost our ratings a little bit. But I there has been some news, quote unquote news, out about the Wyatt Six, about the Uncle Howdy universe as it is, um, and about Alexa Bliss. Now, I will tell you that you need to take this with a huge grain of salt because I have no sources except for this one guy on Twitter who's also a Brit. Not that there's anything wrong with British people, but British wrestling fans. They don't like me and I don't like them. But I feel like I'm the only American that's covered this. I feel like I'm the only American out there that's doing YouTube videos about the Wyatt Six and about the Uncle Howdy QR codes. Um, and the other two main guys, Wrestling Days, and I forget the other guy, they're both British. This guy who goes by the name of Perry Believes on Twitter, um, he he's basically stated that he came out and said that Alexa Bliss is scheduled to return around SummerSlam. That Bray Wyatt, if you remember when Bray was still around, may he rest in peace. Um, they were trying to bring in Alexa Bliss into this Uncle Howdy thing where it kind of felt like Uncle Howdy was kind of like Uncle Paul. If you get the Opie and Anthony Jim Norton reference, that's the vibes I got, was Uncle Howdy was able to get into her head and make her do things. So it was on the very, very creepy end of the spectrum without being full on Uncle Paul. That's the vibes I got. And then um, Alexa Bliss got pregnant. Bray Wyatt tragically passed away, and everything has been put on the back burner ever since. Um, However, they are saying this guy on Twitter is saying that Alexa Bliss is scheduled to be a part of this Wyatt universe, the Wyatt verse. Let's call it the Wyatt verse. There you go. There's hashtag Wyatt verse. That's a good one. She's supposed to be a part of the Wyatt verse. And be involved with Uncle Howdy and the rest of the Wyatt Six. Now, I had said on Twitter, which you can follow me on Twitter at Joe Pillow to Post. There are links to my Twitter and my Facebook on my bio here on YouTube. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But this British guy, seems to think that he has a source that tells him that she is supposed to again return around SummerSlam and is supposed to be around in the Wyattverse. We don't know if she's going to have her own storyline and be like a split off from the main Wyattverse. Now we're getting into the multi Wyattverse. Uh, Maybe she's going to be in the same universe but have her own storylines. Maybe she's going to be and joining up with the Wyatt Six. I had said all along on Twitter that I think, calling it the Wyatt Six already pays tribute to Bray Wyatt. Wrestling Days seems to think that the sixth member, is Bray Wyatt in spirit, and I don't buy that for a minute. While it's very touching, if you're going to call it the Wyatt Six, you need six members. So Uncle Howdy, who is Taylor Rotunda, um, I thought Braun Strowman, but now of a case Braun Strowman's not there, going to be there. Dexter, so it's Uncle Howdy, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy. I think you're going to have um, Eric Rowan will also be a member of that. So Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, Nikki Cross, and Alexa Bliss. There's your six, and they all kind of fit. The QR code from last Monday suggests that maybe Joe Gacy is in that video. I don't think so. I think they've just gotten a bunch of stock B movie footage and have been plugging that in, except for the stuff where he's walking up the stairs, putting the note down, says "Remember who you are." Um, the stuff where he's popping in and out of the frames, like the last video from Monday night, that's all him. But as far as like the insane asylum hallway footage and all that, that stuff is stock film footage. So if they want to introduce Alexa Bliss at a later time, I totally understand that. This guy also seems to think that she's having special gear made and that her gear will pay tribute to Bray, and that she wants to pursue this character. They went ahead and told her you can come back as the goddess Alexa Bliss, the 5 feet of fury and all that, and she doesn't want to do it. She thinks it's a little bit cheesy to do it right now and not needed. She wants to be in this Wyatt verse, so to speak. So that's the update here. As to when they will debut, I think the reason why they're not right now, we're in a countdown phase. Right now it is. Let me check my calendar here. It's 14. It's 17 days as I'm recording this, and like we had 19. It's counting down basically. So I think this Friday, you'll get a 15. You'll get something with 15 in it. And I think the reason why they didn't put a QR code last night is because if you are in this countdown mode, it's too soon. You can't be popping them out every day. So as I said, maybe they wanted to pop up a rating for NXT last night and get you to tune in to view it. Hell, maybe they'll even put one on Speed today. Doesn't Speed come out on Wednesdays? I don't know. But yeah, so that's the news on Alexa Bliss possibly joining up with the Wyatt Six. Maybe she's doing her own thing in this Wyatt verse. We don't know. What I do know is that they can't, WWE has changed over the course of the last year since Bray Wyatt has passed. You can't do the spooky ooky ooky stuff as intensely as you could. It has to be able to fit into the current product. Can they get away with the monster movie gimmick a little bit? Yes. But do I think fans are going to totally buy a supernatural gimmick now? No. Honestly, with Bray coming back and then it quickly having the rug snatched out from under us with it, even though that was totally not Bray's fault, I think the train has left the station on it. I love following the QR codes, looking at source codes and stuff like that. I'm a nerd for such things like that. The puzzles are the puzzle this week got me. I was like, man, that's crazy to think about. But at the same time, they should have been doing stuff like the puzzle for weeks now. They've been going at this for over a month. So if you remember when they did White Rabbit, the first White Rabbit was a Hangman game that kind of played itself, but you could follow along. And then the second one was like a video game thing that reminded me of like a Legend of Zelda from the NES, like dungeon type thing that you had to navigate. There hasn't been too much interactive stuff. And I know it's hard to put together last minute, and it takes a lot of work to put this stuff together. But, I think I'd like to see a little bit more interactivity surrounding the Wyatt Six. Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy have been posting stuff like, where am I? What happened to me? Stuff like that on Twitter. Maybe we could have a video that in the source link or in the source code of the video, there's a link to another video that shows like surveillance footage of Joe Gacy in a cell or in a room or something. Or something of like, Nikki Cross, she was doing this gimmick before she disappeared of sitting there almost comatose in the ring. Like they did I think at the Royal Rumble, she just stood there silently, and they threw her right out. So um, they need to do something, because right now it's getting to the point where if they weren't going to debut at Backlash, they need to have something hella good the next 3 weeks. You know, you got at least two a week that you're doing, because we don't know if they're going to be on Raw. We don't know if they're going to be on SmackDown. We don't know if they're going to be running roughshod over both brands. Um, so it's going to be interesting, but they got to pick it up. I think they got to pick it up. Even toward the end of White Rabbit, you had the Three Little Pigs cartoon with the let me in, and the bang, 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 the knocking at the door, let me in, let me in. We need something like that that's going to put it all full circle. You had the appearance of Uncle Howdy in this video on Monday, but they need to start teasing more and more and more. Just feeding us little kibbles and bits, as they say. So let me know what you think about the Alexa Bliss news. Do you trust this British guy? Am I the only American that's doing videos on this? I feel like I am. Um, do you agree with me with the Wyatt Six, Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, Nikki Cross, and Alexa Bliss? Do you agree with me on all that? Does that make sense? Or do you want to have that sixth member be like a flying, when they do a flyover, they do the missing man type thing? I don't think it needs to be that. I think you could just call them the Wyatt Six, and that could be your tribute to Bray. They could all have Bray, Alexa's doing stuff with the ring gear. Who knows? But let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I put a video out today where I'm thanking everybody. Thank you, but once again, for everybody who subscribed to the channel. Again, I want to tell you guys that we have had, in the last month, 77 new subscribers, 25,000 total views, 39.4 thousand minutes watched. So I want to thank you guys very much for being with me on this journey as I'm running up and down the roads, keeping America moving, as they say about truck drivers. Remember, we'll see you down the road.